Welcome to the LaserCam 4 training video from Kustom Signals. This will cover the day-to-day operations of how to use the device. First of all, you turn the power button on. It will now go through a sequence of tests, and when you get to the GPS screen, you decide whether or not you're using GPS. If you are using GPS, let it connect to the satellites and synchronize. If not, then you can push the red cross, as you'll see now. It will then tell you everything has passed and what versions of firmware you're on, and it will then go to the login screen. You have some default logins. You have 001, 002 and 003. They're all user operator logins. And you have 111111, so that's 6 ones for the login. Push the green tick, and then 333333. So that's 6 threes for the password. Click tick. That logs you in as an administrator. And then because we have location code turned on, if you don't have it turned on, you will not see this screen. But if you do, you can then scroll around previous installed ones, or you can type your own in. So I've just put test and push OK. And when you're then finished, you'll see that it says test in the top there, because that's what we've just chosen. It's now ready to operate. So chapter 1, we're going to talk about the operation mode of the camera, and that is this first button here. What you have on the top is whether you wish to be images or video. So as you can see at the moment by the white square highlighting, we're currently on video mode. If you go onto image mode, you can see it now changes to the images. So we'll leave it on video. The second row is to do with how you want this system to operate. So the first button here is automatic. For automatic mode, you will have to pull the trigger to start the laser firing, and you can then capture as many vehicles as you wish. When you've finished doing the enforcement, you pull the trigger again to stop. In manual mode, you pull and hold the trigger to capture a vehicle and let go of the trigger when you've finished on that one vehicle. And it will save a video clip for just that one vehicle. Then on the next one, you pull the trigger again. The third button is range mode. So if you click this one, you will use this in the range test that we will cover shortly. And the final button is a video only, so it's then like a camcorder. So for an example, if you saw somebody fighting or graffitiing, you could record evidence of a different type of offence. Okay, we're going to put it in manual mode for this that we're doing now. And then you push the home button to go back to the home screen. The next button we're going to cover is the camera settings. That's this one here. The first 4 buttons across the top are daytime settings. So you can see we have sunny conditions to cloudy conditions. The second row is for nighttime use. So this first button here is still colour, but for nighttime mode, so low light levels. The second button along the bottom is for black and white nighttime mode. And the third is for infrared if you're using our accessory of the infrared illuminator, which is covered under a different training video. So we're going to leave it in the sunny conditions for this training video and push home. The next button is what we call the speed limit button, which is this one here. And the current setup of this device has 2 speed limits. You can have up to 3 speed limits set in the device, but this one has 2. So the first one is the speed limit of what would normally be the vehicles of cars and normal traffic. We are currently set up in kilometers an hour, as you can see from the top here. So we're talking about kilometers speed limits. So if, for example, the vehicle of speed for cars was 100. We can leave it as it is or just type 100. Click the green tick, and we can now choose the second, which would normally be, for example, trucks. So if we want 80, we can leave it as it is or type 80 and push tick. It will then go back to the home screen automatically. The next button is what we call the capture limit. This covers any allowances that the police allow over the speed limit for tolerance of speed, accuracy of the speedos, etc. So in this scenario, we have put a 10% tolerance, so 110. And if we kept with the same 10%, we would have 88 for trucks and push tick. That now means the speed limit of a car is 100, but until they get to 110, it will not capture any speeding. The next button is the instant replay button. Now, the instant replay looks like standard DVR type controls if you've run a video, so we can play backwards and forwards. We can skip a frame at a time, and if you had pictures or more videos, you could skip between the videos. You also have pause and stop. When you are paused, if you double tap the screen, you can save an image of that part of the video. As you can see, it says screenshot saved, and click tick. To get back to the normal screen, home screen, you just push the stop button. The next button is what we call a laser self-test button. Every time you start the device, you will do a self-test internally of the system anyway, but you can manually do the same thing by pushing this button. It will test the laser, and as long as it says passed for the timer and passed for the EEPROM, you're okay. If any of them say fail, then you need to contact technical support or send the device in for service. Push the home or back button and you go back to the home screen. The final stage is if you wanted to play back any other videos that's not the last one that was done, you click on the main menu button and then you click on this folder icon, and you can now choose between the last, which would be the same as the instant replay, today, all of the different types of data in there, or you can click on the calendar. So if we click on the calendar, you can see here that if the dates are greyed out, then there's no data for that day. If they are bold, like the 8, then that means there is data for that day. You click on the date that you want, and you can now see symbols down the left-hand side tell you if it was an image, a video, a range, etc. And if you've got a number in the brackets, you will see that this video has a 0 and I can't pick the image picture. This video has a 2 in the brackets, so I can now look at the 2 images that's associated to that video by clicking here. And there is the different images that you've saved. If you wanted to print that, you are able to select that and then print instantly from the device if you have the optional accessory of the Bluetooth printer attached to the device. It's not attached now, so it's greyed out, it won't work. If it is attached, then it will allow you to print. Turn that back off and go back to the screen was on. Now, if you've got something that's not a video, like this one, you'll see it has a number in the brackets, but you still can't click the image. That's because it's an actual image offence, not a video offence. So you would just click play, and now you can skip between. Here you can see 5 of 5. There's 4, 3, 2 and 1. Again, if you was having the printer available, you'd be able to print directly from there. Go back to home. That takes us back to the home screen. That is the end of chapter 1 and the general setup of the device. Okay, we're now going to talk about chapter 2. Chapter 2 is going to cover the optional tests, depending if you have to do it legally or not. The first one is what we call a range test. So for a range test, you'll come into the operating mode, and again you pick whether you wish to have a video or an image of the evidence of you doing that, and you pick the range button as we talked about earlier. At this point now I'm going to take a video with a range, and what you do is once you've selected the option, you just go to the home button. You now go to your location where you've got a calibrated or a known distance, and let's say for argument's sake it's 50 meters. You'll then pull the trigger and you want to see 50 meters come up in the distance here within the tolerance levels that are allowed within the device. If you don't get 50 meters and you know you've measured 50 meters, then again it needs to come to technical support or service for help. If you do get 50 meters as described and as seen in here when you do the test, then you know that that is correct. The second test that you need to do is what we call an alignment test. This is to check that the head-up display, the reticle on the screen, and the camera on the front and laser are all in alignment with each other, meaning when you target a vehicle of A, that particular target has got the laser on it and the head-up display, and the camera is also looking at the same vehicle. To do a recording of this so you have evidence, you go into the operational mode again pick video or image, and then just pick the camera version. So it will now do a recording of you actually doing that test. So you push home again, and now you're ready to do the alignment test, whereby you will slide the camera from left to right or from right to left, and you will choose something like a lamp column or a pole, preferably with open sky behind it, so that you've got nothing that the laser will detect when it's not pointing at the pole. When you slide from that left to right or right to left, you should hear the chirp, as you can hear now, and that will be recording what you're doing. And you want to see that when the reticle of the camera and the HUD is in alignment with the pole, you then know that you've got the correct alignment between all of them devices. And then you turn the camera 90 degrees and do the same thing just to check the vertical plane as well as the horizontal plane. When you've done them, you can then finish. If you wish to play it back, you can push play again, and you'll see the recording that you've done. Okay, that's the end of this chapter. Okay, you've now finished obviously all your recording. You've brought the device back to your office, and so you're now going to connect it to your laptop or PC to download the data into Prolog. To do so, you just connect the USB cable into the side of the device, and when you've done so, you'll see that it says USB connected on the back of the screen. You at this point know that your driver is installed correctly on your laptop or PC, and you are ready to download the data into Prolog. So you've brought the LaserCam 4 back to the office, and we've connected it to the USB. Therefore, we now start the Prolog application on your computer. The username is administrator, as already there, and the password is blank as the default username and password. So you can click OK. This will start up the Prolog application, and the first thing you need to do is click on Import Events from Device and choose LaserCam 4, as that's what we're talking about. If you have the USB connected correctly and the driver installed, you will now be faced with this screen telling you which serial number you're connected to, and you want to click Import. It will then tell you what data that it's actually imported, and if you've got another LaserCam 4, then you can go next and do the next one, but if you've just got the one, then you can click exit. That has now imported any data that was inside the device. So the next thing you do is go to recordings, and you need to then search for any recordings that you've got. So I'm going to go back a few years just to get a lot of data in. And you click search. And then you'll get faced with is what you can see here, which is all the offences that are between that date range from a LaserCam 4. The symbols down the side here indicate whether it's a video or an image. So you can see these are a video reel. So these are actual videos. And what you do is you double click the one you want to process. And you can now see here that you've got the video with the normal video editing tools at the bottom. And you've got the data that's associated to that device. These are all the recording events that happened during the course of that video recording, i.e. a speed change or recording. So you can capture any images of this video by clicking capture, and you can save any notes, and then you just literally click save. What you then need to do is obviously print or save the offence. So the first thing to ensure you do is make sure that any pictures that you wish to use, so for an example, if you only wanted to use that picture, then untick them two, and then the other two pictures will not be printed on the printout. You are also able to save, if you wish, a printout for the graph of how the speed happened. Again, click create picture and save. And you can also, if you're using GPS, use a map location by just creating the picture again there. What happens then is when you then click, I'm going to do to screen, you can now see that you've got all the data along with the images that I had ticked, and therefore they have now printed, and the officer can sign it by printing it out. You can now either print it or save it as a PDF by just clicking on the print report, and then you can use the normal Windows tools to print it to a printer or save it. Cancel that, and then I can close that offence down, and you can either go to the next offence, or you can close this down and pick from the list the next offence by double clicking. That's how you process the data. If you want more details on Prolog, then that's a separate video all about Prolog, but this is how you do the basic importing and processing of the data.